Was born in Greater Southeast Washington, D.C. Hospital. Raised in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Still reside there today?
Still reside there today.
And what you were raised there? What age did the raising start?
At birth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, started off in Suitland, then to Clinton, you know, so PG County native, Maryland, DC native, but, you know, my address has all been Maryland, so yeah.
So is it a certain part of the city you represent today?
I represent PG County in a whole.
Okay.
I'm where we from is like Southern Maryland. So like, you know, that's like Temple Hills, Clinton, Suitland, Camp Springs, all that.
And you did Suitland and then you went to another part?
Yeah, Clinton.
Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you know the reasoning of why the move?
Well, for real, like my parents, they always was trying to like make sure that we had like, I don't know, like a good environment around us. And so at the time, Clinton, I mean, it still is, but it was more suburban than Suitland. And so like this around the time, like my sister was born too. They just wanted like a change of scenery. Yeah, just a change of scenery, something a little different, but something still local in the area, so.
Do you remember what age that was for you personally?
I was young. I was like 4. So that was around the time when my sister was born. I still remember making a move.
Now, growing up, what was PG like during that time?
So I'm a 90s baby, so at that time, that's when DC was still the chocolate city. I grew up in a predominantly black area, so it was just like a lot of community, you know, a lot of parks and going outside, riding your bike, seeing people you know, hooping. And of course, you know, bad things happen everywhere, so, you know, you had that, but I mean, you know, Prince George's County then was, I mean, as far as I can remember, was pretty cool.
Sounds very positive.
Yeah. I mean, it's positive and negative everywhere, you know. You just gotta figure out which one, you know, what type of energy you wanna find, so.
Some of the negative aspects that was going on in the city, what specifically back then? I
mean, certain areas had like higher crime rates. So like PG County can be confusing to an outsider looking in. So like for instance, like some areas like Bowie's considered PG County, not knocking nobody, or like Upper Marlboro, but the areas might look a certain type of way, but the people that's traveling through or living in the areas might have a different type of energy. And our area, you got a lot of people moving back and forth from DC to Maryland, Virginia to Maryland, so it's a lot of mixing between like area codes and where people from.
This higher crime rate, were you able to avoid that?
I've seen it. We had, when we was like kids, like our area, the houses in our neighborhood used to get broken into a lot. You know what I'm saying, hear about shootings, see, read about people dying, seeing people, you know what I'm saying, going through different struggles, but I couldn't necessarily say it was like maybe too much, but like I said, it's drama everywhere, so, you know. It's just like everyday life to us. It's not something that we thought about, you know what I'm saying? You go to school, come home, go outside, shit like that.
Now, financially, what class did you fall in growing up? I know in the American society, people get placed in a few different classes: poor, lower middle class, upper middle class, rich.
I want to say lower middle class. My father always had like 3 jobs. My mother worked, and then so she could look after me and my sister. A lot of times I ain't even see my father. I was asleep by the time he come home. And that's what he had to do just to make sure we could be lower middle class. Of course, I had family members on Section 8. I got family members that's on all spectrums of the struggle, so I've seen both. You know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of hustling and grinding as far as like, you know, I ain't have like, my folks wasn't buying me like the latest Jordans and shit like that. They looked at it, you know, paying the bills and putting a roof over your head is a main priority. So it's not like it could even be afforded. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
As you continued to grow up, were you, your family ever able to move up higher financially from lower middle class? Or did they pretty much stay in that class there?
Stay the same, like I overheard my folks say one time, like one paycheck away from like not having anything. And one thing I want to touch on is just like my father, like he grew up like working his ass off, and like he did not have past a high school education. I don't even think he had a high school education, but he used he used manual labor to his advantage, and a lot of people saw how hard my father worked. So we were like, a lot of blessings was put upon our household just based off of, minus that, it'd be a really ugly picture for real.
Did you follow those footsteps or inherit that hardworking characteristic from your father?
Yeah, I could definitely say most definitely. He used to wake me up. My father had like growing up as a kid, like I guess, you know what I'm saying, it's one of them jobs. My father was a janitor, you know what I'm saying? That's just one of his jobs though. He was a janitor at a school I went to, so you know you had to go through, oh, your father was a janitor, but he used to wake me up at like 13, 14, at like 7 in the morning on the weekends, mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, like real like working class type stuff. And I think that definitely instilled like a work ethic. I always have to, you know, one thing is I think about is like, where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year ago? What were you able to accomplish? Without working on that, you can't meet those goals. So like, I definitely will say like, you know, I inherited that hard-working mentality. It was taught at a young age.
You grew up in a two-parent household?
Definitely did.
Parents still together today?
Yep. A little bit on my background is I happen to be, because I know you heard me mention that I was born in Greater Southeast Hospital. So, you know, I actually happen to be adopted. So, like, I was adopted. My actual biological parents had some things that they just couldn't, circumstances they couldn't raise children under. So, was in foster care, but not too long. I was still a baby in foster care, and yeah, my parents adopted me.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the father in this conversation with the 3 jobs, this is...
That's not my biological father, but that's my motherfucking father. Like, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And taking a pause here because I have so many questions and I'm trying to figure out what to ask you next. I've done interviews with people that end up in foster care and have horrible experiences, mm-hmm. and figure out their way through life, and some that get adopted with a family and end up having a good experience. It sounds like you went through this very quickly and bypassed some hardships that people I've interviewed had gone through.
Well, I could definitely say I was blessed to not being able to have to be raised in the foster care system. I have other like cousins that aren't blood related, that are like foster, you know, family members, and they did not have that same. So I see the struggle that they go through. They happen to even be able to know their parents. So like going through that back and forth that was a lot I saw as a kid. Like people trying to tell you who your mother is. People telling you don't know who your mother is, you know, like, or your father, you don't know where you come from. So I mean, like, yeah, I was able to avoid the foster, growing up in the foster care system, though.
Do you actually know your biological parents?
I've never met them, don't know what they look like. I don't know their names. I was given, like, like a document that had their description, age, job title, and a little bit of family history and circumstances around my birth. I know I have other siblings, never met them.
So were you actually given up for adoption, or were you taken by the state for foster care?
That answer, I really don't know. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was by choice or the state did that
By force.
by force. I know that my biological mother, my birth mother, was very intelligent because she put me in a private adoption agency, and by that it's a little bit more selective. You got a higher rate of finding a home rather than just being put in a public adoption agency. And so she definitely wanted, whatever the situation was, somebody had some knowledge behind what was going on to give me the best opportunity to be successful.
Now, just personally yourself, are you curious to know who your biological parents are? Do you want to know? Do you wish you could know?
To be honest, I don't really think about it like every day. I don't, but hell yeah, like sometimes you want to know where you get your tendencies from. Like, you know, I'm heavily involved in a lot of stuff, and sometimes I want to know like where does that in the gene line or the gene pool, where does that come from? And being able to like see somebody that look like you, it mean a lot, you know. That definitely could mean a lot.
And I don't know if it's also a sense of closure for someone like yourself to know those biological parents that gave birth to you.
Well, I mean, I say this though, when I was talking to somebody about it, they told me like, you gotta be mentally ready to do something like that. And you gotta be mentally ready simply because you don't know what you're gonna find. You can find somebody that's in denial. They might have started a whole life over and be like, to their spouse, I never had kids. And then here you come trying to say, hey, I'm such and such. You gotta be ready. It might not be all like PG. It might not be all like a happy ending. It might be some denial in the end of that. So I mean, and then it might be somebody that try to be dependent, depending on where you at in life and where they at in life. It could be a burden. So closure probably, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of other things on the plate. I haven't really been thinking about that lately.
Just curious to see if that's something you've always wanted to know or didn't.
I mean, yeah, like as you grow up, as a kid, I ain't thinking about it. When I was a teenager, I thought about it, cause like I said, teenage years you go through, like, you are trying to identify things. And so you need to have that uncle to be like, oh, uncle such and such, act like, oh, you act like auntie such and such, you know? You don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So like everybody looking at you, like, I'm an outside person. I love being outside, always outside. My family indoors. They always want to know why he want to be outside all the time. That's just in my blood. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? So like knowing somebody that you can relate to and they can understand your ways, you know, that is the closure, I guess, for real, for real.
Also, maybe genetic-wise, you may want to know health-wise, maybe what could run in your family in the past, maybe to prevent yourself or do things differently yourself for your own future.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I mean, my mother said all the time. She like, you don't know your health background. You don't know what your family deal with, and that's a good thing to know. You know, so I mean, right now that's up in the air. You know, we just dealing with it. Whatever comes, we dealing with that. You know.
And I know everything happened when you were very young, foster care and then adoption of the family that you ended up with. But would you say somebody watching this that works in foster care, that is part of the adoption process and system, an employee of it perhaps, is there any suggestion, because you've experienced this life and the way things played out, is there anything you would say as far as I don't know if advice is the right word, but is there anything you would do differently from that standpoint?
I mean, I'm kind of still in it now. Like, you know, I'm in the midst of my music career. Like, I'm a full-grown adult, got a lot of responsibilities. To be honest, I'd probably be the wrong person to ask for advice on that because I simply don't know for myself. So I don't know what a person should or shouldn't do. You know, I haven't thought about, like, making those efforts to go try to figure out who's who and where. I really got to focus on my life right now.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I do this type of interview with people that have been adopted and they have criticisms about foster care and the adoptive, I guess, way things go about. So I didn't know if, you know, looking back at your life, you had certain, like, for example, the information being withheld about your biological parents, genetic information, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, would you, for future people in it, would you say, hey, okay?
Yeah, I mean, because one thing is, like, they sealed, my biological mother did not want to be contacted. So they sealed all of those documents. If I wanted to go find it, I would have to get, like, a lawyer that had some connections to open them records. So that is a little fucked up because in the long run, she protecting her identity, but then, like, you holding your child back when he is an adult to know, like, you know, certain things that he may have to be may face in life. But I mean, that's the only thing I could be critical of, you know, to be honest. I don't fault a person's decision.
When it comes to your adoptive family, were you the only child that they adopted?
Yeah.
And they ended up also having their own children.
Yeah, my little sister.
Yeah. Did they treat you any different?
I didn't. I was the oldest, so other than that, nah. I never saw a difference. Never saw a difference.
Do you have any kids yourself at this moment?
Nah, no kids.
You don't?
Not yet.
Because you went through the adoption process and things of that nature, would you personally want to adopt others yourself, or would you want to have, I guess, biological children?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm all for like other children getting adopted. I do want to. I just know that there's a lot of when you adopt a child, it's like getting a puppy, right? Like the little dog, he cute, but when he get to adolescence, you start seeing things that dang, I didn't, you know. So like that's something that child is definitely going to go through a challenging moment in himself, regardless of how you raise them, and you have to be prepared for that. I don't want to confuse. I do want to raise my own kids though, like biological kids. Yeah.
Just curious. Everybody has their own opinion on it. I was just curious on yours.
Okay.
Now, your adoptive parents, they're both in your life still today. They're together.
Yeah, they together.
Do you know what their secret is of staying together? Is because obviously I do these type of interviews a lot, and you don't hear too many people growing up in a two-parent household. A lot of split parents, a lot of broken homes, maybe even a guardian that's not even a grandparent. What do you think their secret is of staying together this long?
My mother is a very, very straight to the point but supportive woman. And what I mean by that is like I told you, my father got like 2.5, 3 jobs, always working. I never seen them argue. I never heard my mother complain. I don't know what they do behind closed doors. We ain't never had a car, like a brand new car for that year or like anything like that. I ain't never seen no cruises, no family vacations to here and there. But I think my mother understood that, you know what I'm saying, some of the things that my father lacked, he's gonna work hard, he's gonna work his fingers to the bone to make sure that we got what we got. It might not mean he might always be physically or emotionally available, but she realized what was really important is survival. So she ain't never nag him Never made them feel bad for being at work for too long. And I think they got a rare type relationship. Like, in my family, I'm be honest, I ain't really, like, my mother, I could probably remember my mother saying she loved me, like, maybe 5 times in my whole life. She type of woman, she like, I don't have to tell you that. Like, you see this, you see that, you know what I'm saying? How can you ask me if I love you? So she ain't really with the sentimental, cinematic shit or whatever the word is. So I think that's how my father and them worked out.
Maybe like an opposites attract type of thing?
Yeah, like, I mean, put it like this, you know, dating could be like really up and down. So like, you say you're a musician, you're an artist like myself. You create music in your free time, you record, you do this, you daydream about creative ideas and visual stuff. Being in a relationship, that could be hard because then people might feel like they're not getting the necessary time and attention spent, but you're working on something that's gonna better everyone for the whole. And so like, that's how my mother is. Yo, she's not going to make you feel bad. Like, my mother don't like birthday cards, Christmas gifts. She's like, no, keep that for yourself. Like, you know, that's something that you could do to advance yourself. She's more about total survival as a whole, rather than like, okay, you might have bought me a $50 bouquet of roses, but that puts you late on a certain utility bill or something. She's not looking at it like that. So.
Now, growing up financially in lower middle class, that environment there, did you seek earning money at an early age?
Hell yeah, because I wasn't, like, basketball team, I was the only one without the team shoes, because my mother had this rule, she was not buying any shoes over $59.99. So it seemed like all the cool shoes started at $59.99. Her limit was $49.99. And so like, I wanted to do things to like, so I could have my own money. We wasn't getting no allowance or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? So like, I was like, I just wanted to buy stuff. I always wanted to buy stuff, like couldn't wait.
What age was it when you start making money, and how do you go about doing it?
Well, to be honest, I tried to pull a scam move in high school. I wanted these Hirachis real bad, so like, I wrote this little letter as if I was the basketball coach, and I sent it to all the teachers to see if they would donate. Like, they was like 70, so I was like, if 7 teachers feel bad enough to donate $10, then I can get the Hirachis. And they was at the Foot Locker down the street. I knew I was gonna walk down there and get them. Nobody. They ain't do that shit. They did not do that at all. I used to, in middle school, we used to have these lunch tickets, and I mean, we basically took the whole roll of lunch tickets and we started selling them in the school for like $5, $10, because all they wanted was the tickets. And then once you go, you can get a cafeteria. So I used to do stuff like that just so I could have like $20, you know, you like 13, 14, you ain't there, you just want something, go to McDonald's or something like that.
Little hustles there.
Yeah.
Was that ever a gateway into other hustles, maybe street hustles?
I mean, yeah, like, can't claim innocence, you know, but more so like I ain't, you know, I ain't no angel, put it like that. I wouldn't consider myself like a street nigga or something, but you know people that know people, and people that like in my family, immediate circle, cousins, relatives, like they were definitely involved in stuff. So I was like little cuz, like little brother, for real. So yeah, you know.
Was this a petty street activity, or did you get deep into it?
I did end up getting incarcerated. I don't really want to put out there full, but like, I definitely ended up getting incarcerated. I had to fight on trial. They gave me a no bond status, so I had to fight for 7 months, and I was blessed enough to beat the trial. They found me not guilty. And yeah, at that point in life, I was just like not thinking about the next day, just whatever. Everything was, I was young, so yeah.
This was as a juvenile or an adult charge?
As an adult, I didn't have a concept of time, so I just I never thought about the next hour, next moment. I was just living.
When you beat a charge in trial, obviously you can't get this time back of you no bond status and you being incarcerated. Is there any compensation that you get back from the city, from the state, for beating something that you were charged with?
I'm pretty sure it's a process, but I was just so happy to be free that I just wanted to get my life started from that moment forward. Because like I said, when I came in, it was like January, it was cold. I spent almost the whole year in that process. So I went through spring in there, almost the entire summer. I got out like in late August, maybe early September or something like that. And that's exactly around that time when I started to take music seriously. And I was felt like I had fucked my whole life up. These were some serious charges. Just to get a time frame, I was facing like, I had 24 years backup time on probation, and then I had 10 years mandatory if found guilty. And they were offering me small pleas. The first plea went from 5. I turned it down. Then they offered me 3 on the day of trial. And I just wanted to, I was like, damn. At least if I knew I fought and lost, I had a pill in my back pocket. My lawyer wanted me to take that deal, but I turned it down. And I was like, man, shit, if I could get out of this situation, then, you know, I might have just turned up for real. And stop fucking up and wasting time.
That's pretty bold to make a choice like that, to continue to fight it in trial when you have an attorney here saying you should take a plea.
Yeah.
Back then, what was your decision making on continuing to fight it in trial and not taking a plea?
Well, it was like do or die for me. Like, at that time I had spent a birthday in jail, and I was like, fuck it. I started getting all this shit, like I said, I got a letter from the state's attorney to the jail already saying mandatory 10 years if found guilty. I knew if I pleaded guilty, I don't know what type of numbers. They offering 3 years, but that's 3 years because I still had backup time and I had all this other shit. So I'm like, man, I'm not trying to risk that. So from Jump Street, honestly, I knew I wasn't taking any type of plea. Like on that case, I knew I was going straight to trial, guilty or not guilty. Like, that's what was gonna happen.
Even though your attorney suggested to take a plea, did you have confidence in this attorney that he would able to get you off of this charge?
Yeah, I was confident in him because, I was definitely confident. I was really confident in the case because I knew it wasn't much that they had, so I said, I'm gonna take my chances before I give them up. Like, I'm gonna fight it. And then I don't know what the law is now, but I know if you plead guilty, I think you waive your appeal rights. If you plead not guilty, in about a year and a half, 2 years, you can get back into the appeal process, new jury, new judge, and you might have a different chance. And so instead of like risk myself getting all that time by taking a plea, I was like, man, you know, I'll just go ahead and fight this. And worst come to worst, I might have to do a little bit of time, go to the road, and then come back and on appeal, try to win that.
Was this your first time in jail doing this no bond status situation?
Nah, we used to get caught for like petty shit, like weed. Maryland used to, before they passed the law, if you got caught with like a grinder, a .5, a dime bag, that was an arrestable offense. So, like, yeah, we used to get caught all the time with like stuff like that, in and out, getting PR'd, and things like that. So.
But it was juvenile type stuff?
It's like
or?
late teens, early 20s, you know, like 18, 19.
So you had gone to county jail as an adult prior to this no bond status situation?
And then I had some other charges. I was on house arrest for almost a year. And so I kind of knew my situation with the law. So yeah.
Going through this whole ordeal and being found not guilty of this charge, what did you learn from this situation? What did you take away from this situation overall?
I learned, like, you only get a certain amount of chances in life. Some people get 0 chances. And if you blessed enough to get a chance or 2 and you fuck it up, then you really have to blame yourself. You don't have nobody else to blame. I was, during that 7 months was a good learning experience for me because I'm like a chameleon. Any situation I'm in, I absorb my surroundings. I wasn't just there, I was there to learn. And so, like, it was so many talented people in it, extremely talented people, in all facets of everything. Poetry, people writing books, people rapping, people drawing, like, portraits from pencils. Where I was like, man, it's a lot of wasted potential, a lot of wasted talent. These people would be doing other things if they wasn't in here. And so I just knew. I just said, if I'm able to make it out of this, then I gotta go full force. Like, full force. I gotta, like, not bullshit.
And go ahead.
Nah, I was just about to say, and people, like, during my whole time in there, only one person got found not guilty. I was seeing people coming back with 80 years, life, 50 years, 30 years, and, like, as it came closer to my trial, everybody was like, it was like a motivational thing. Cause everybody was like, man, what you gonna do, bro? What you gonna do? I'm like, man, I'm going to trial. And then when I came back, cause I didn't get released right away after they said not guilty. I was still in there for like a day. But when I came back to the unit, like the look on people's faces, that was like heavy motivation for them. Like when I told them that they said not guilty, like that I can't even describe, like the look in their face, like of just hope for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
And this was a trial by jury?
Yeah, this was a trial by jury. Yeah.
Before you actually make that decision, I wanted to ask you one more question. Before you finally make that decision to continue fighting this in trial and not taking a plea, what did your family think? Did your family want you to take a plea and say, get it over with, or did they want you to take it to trial too?
Oh, my mom's definitely wanted me to take that plea, especially the 3-year one. She was adamant that I take that plea. And I think she was a little upset because I made the decision in the courtroom that we're gonna go ahead with trial. And I think she was a little upset. She just was looking at it like she ain't wanna lose her baby boy. And, you know, that was the main thing that kind of got to me subconsciously. Cause I remember the first time I seen my mom Dukes, she came to visit me. She looked like she ain't been asleep for like a week. Like, she just looked like beat. And I was like, damn, bruh, like, what you doing is emotionally hurting other people, bruh. Let's, like, I mean, just try alternative. You intelligent, you so smart, and you gotta put your smarts in the right way. And so, like, that honestly made me feel, like, really fucked up. Just seeing her look. Shit, my mother ain't never tell me I'm disappointed in you, I'm mad at you, none of that. She ain't never said that. I could just, body language, it just hurt. So, nah, I ain't take it though. I prayed on it. I don't think God wanted me to take that plea. Might not be talking to you right now.
So you went against your mom's wishes, you went against your attorney's wishes to take that plea, and you continued to fight.
That's what it was. All right, so let me just tell you, like, where it got, like, kind of deep. throughout all the fighting in court and stuff like that. It was like TV. They was arguing. I could not defend myself because if you take the stand to try to defend yourself, they can open up your whole criminal background. That will affect the jury. So while the jury was deliberating, they took me to this small room, like the size of like a gas station bathroom or something, and ain't had no window. And like you just in there while people making a decision on your life. And then I was just in there, John, like, man, shit. It's only one way I had to face it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be yes or no. Either I got this or I don't. And so I came to peace. I was like, if they say guilty, then I'm mentally about to prepare myself for whatever I'm about to do. You know? I never thought about it. Like when I was in the county, I ain't never thought about bitches, parties. I tapped in immediately. I did not think about what I was missing. I was just focusing on my case and eating and passing time and shit like that.
When you decided to take it to trial, was your family supportive of you?
Well, it was right there in the courtroom, so like they ain't had no choice. Like they ain't had no choice at all. Like I didn't even get a chance to consult them. Like, you know, like everything was going through my lawyer. My lawyer came, whispered to me, told me this. They offered this. I was like, nah. He was like, I spoke to your mom. She really wants you. I was like, nah. And then, yeah, he was like, you got one more. He was like, you got like 2 minutes to think about it. I got 5. I said, nah. And that's where we started, right then and there.
How long was the actual trial?
It was a day.
And how long? Go ahead.
Nah, it was just one day.
And how long was it for the jury to deliberate on your fate?
It seemed like a long time when I was in that room. I don't know. But it seemed like a long time though. It was, like I said, there's no clock in there. You don't know what's going on out there. But I just know that when I came out though, I knew. Cause I was looking at the jury and the body language. This one lady just was like looking at me like, and she just gave me like this look of like confidence. She just looked at me dead in the eye. I looked at her, and I still ain't know, my heart was still beating. Don't get it twisted, but like, you know, it was good though.
They read not guilty. What happens to you immediately, as far as your emotions, your heart's beating? They read the verdict.
I just was ready to prove that I was a different person, that's all. No, that's all. I was ready to prove that like people, I heard the P word my whole life, potential. He got potential, you got potential, you got so much potential. And so like at that moment when I heard that, I was like, I don't have no excuses. It wasn't like a sigh of relief. It wasn't like a jump for joy. It was like, now you really gotta prove something to everybody, you know?